Welcome to Homebuyers School, brought to you by Brookfield Residential.
So hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Homebuyer School. Today I'm joined by Mushtaba Syed, a mobile mortgage specialist with TD Canada Trust. And today the question we're going to answer is how to get pre-approved for a mortgage in Canada. So Mo, how do we get approved for pre-approved for a mortgage?
Carl, the best way to get pre-approved for a mortgage is to reach out to your bank, to your mortgage broker, book an appointment with them, and kind of sit in and just work your numbers, work the application to see where your pre-qualifications are.
Any bank?
Any bank that you're comfortable with, someone that you have a relationship would be ideal, someone that kind of understands where you're coming from.
So how do I apply for a mortgage in Canada?
The best way to apply for a mortgage is to book the appointment with the mortgage specialist, someone who specializes in mortgages. Sit down with them, have the appointment. It should be a fairly decent appointment, should be very lengthy, shouldn't be less than an hour to go over all your needs. You should be able to bring in your documents with you. That includes any income documents, anything that you think you might need for a mortgage pre-approval. The specialist at that time could even advise you what you need prior to the appointment, so you know you're not missing anything.
Can you break down some of the steps that for pre-approval?
Yeah, absolutely. The first step we definitely do is we actually look at your credit. Credit's a big part of getting pre-approved for a mortgage. It kind of gives a bank an idea of your paying habits. Technically, we look at it as more of like a character thing. So it's more when you promise to pay something, we want to make sure that you actually stay on top of your payments. That's definitely the first step. And then second step, we look at your income. The reason why that is so important is we need to know that you can actually service the mortgage with your current debts that you might have or any financial obligations you might have. So we look at that, and then we also look at your down payment, which is also very important to kind of see how many savings you have, what kind of saving habits you might have. So in a way, we kind of look at credit, what you think that you might get pre-approved for depends on the house that you're looking for as well, your income, saving habits, a whole bunch of different things.
Do you require access to like the financial records of people in terms of when you're looking at, in terms of maybe their credit score or their income or so on?
Yeah, for financial records, I guess for most average people, we'll look at income statements. So that could be your recent pay stub, it could be a job letter, it could be direct deposits going into your account with your income. We could also look at your year-end statements to kind of see if you're making any overtime. You might have some bonuses, you might have some shares or anything in the company. So it could be a factor of both. And ideally, we would like to get the most income as possible, which really does help you qualify for a mortgage.
And so when we talk about income, is there a difference between full-time job? How about people who are consultants or have their own company? Does that have any impact?
Yes, absolutely. So if you're a full-time employee, it all comes down to your debt servicing. So you could be a part-time person or a full-time person, but if the income is there to qualify for the certain amount that you're looking for, it doesn't really matter. Start times could matter. If you've started and you're still on probationary period with your employer, that could definitely affect. If you're self-employed, we actually like to take a 2-year average. For self-employed or contractors, we kind of look at them as self-employed as well, because their income can fluctuate, it can vary, and banks actually want to see like a 2-year kind of like an average to see how the income has been for the last 2 years.
Is there a difference between mortgage specialist, like applying for mortgage specialist with a bank versus an independent company?
Yeah, a little bit. So applying with a mortgage specialist with a bank is you're dealing with a bank employee. So you're dealing with someone who's very familiar with bank policies, bank procedures, someone who has direct access to the employees at the bank as well, which are the underwriters, which is someone that is going to look at your deal. Someone who's going to approve your deal is also, they work for the bank. So they have direct access to the underwriters, they have direct access to any other bank, different groups of the bank that they might need to reach out to regarding your accounts, anything like that. And the biggest difference I find between a mortgage specialist at a bank and a broker is a mortgage specialist at the bank, they kind of have to go through constant learning on a yearly basis. We have to go through annual courses and annual certifications. And we also know our bank policies inside and out, because banking as financial, the institution, the industry is constantly changing. So it means policies are changing, procedures are changing, and once you kind of focus, you kind of become that specialist.
Going back to some of the steps in terms of getting pre-approved for a mortgage, do you also need some sort of collateral like whether it's an asset, a personal asset, in terms of getting a mortgage?
Absolutely. So in the mortgage process, the collateral is actually the house that you're looking at buying.
Okay.
So that is going to be the collateral that you do. So the bank will actually use that as a collateral.
Okay. Do you have any other things to add in terms of getting pre-approved, how to get pre-approved?
I would recommend when you do look at getting pre-approved for a mortgage, definitely do your research, and the people that you're talking to, the specialist or the independent broker, it should be someone who is willing to work for your best interest in mind, right? So checking who has the best interest for you, who's going to work hard for you. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. Not everyone is cookie cut, is what I like to call it.
Yeah.
So really kind of take an interview of the person that's going to be working for you, like as you might be taking an interview for someone else, or someone going to be interviewing
like a
you.
real estate agent.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, doing that is because the financing part is just as important as the home buying or finding part.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much for the information. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
That's another edition of Homebuyer School. Tune in next time for more expert tips and tricks. And visit homebuyersschool.ca to bring you one step closer to finding your dream home. As with everything, it would be great if you like and share our videos. Also, please let us know if you have any home buying questions you want us to answer.